Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today, I have a very, very interesting upload to share with you. A subscriber interview / update and some very interesting video evidence. Before we get into it, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and my merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. The links to Patreon and PayPal are in the description below. My merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman, Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeffrey Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, the links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe, click the like button, and please leave a comment. It really does help, and it definitely matters. And now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with today's upload, shall we? Normally, I share compelling video evidence at night on the second half of the uploads. But today, I figured, hey, I've got a subscriber interview / update, and let's add some video evidence to this, kind of spice it up, start the day off right. So today's first video is a group of kids hanging out. I don't know what they're doing. It looks dangerous, but it looks like they're walking on barrels or something, but they're outside and they're not on their phones or their video games, so better than most. And fortunately, one does have his phone with him, and he catches a very interesting clip of what appears to be a Bigfoot. Check it out.
Alright. These guys are playing on some tubes. Don't ask me why.
What's that? Right up there.
What?
What is up there? Whoa, what the heck?
Dude, I don't... What?
What is that?
I'm not seeing it. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, what is that? What is that thing? This is history right here. Don't tell me that's a Yeti.
Oh, right on the road right there. Wait, get on camera. Get on camera.
So that was today's first video clip. One thing that I do find fascinating is that one of the kids says Yeti. When I was a teenager, I didn't use the word Yeti while I was talking about North American Bigfoot or Sasquatch. I used Yeti when I was referring to like the Himalayas. And I found that kind of interesting. Not really sure how I feel about this video clip, but it's not up to me. It's up to you guys, and that's why I share them with you. So today's main part of the video is a subscriber interview / update from the Hood County region of Texas. If you're not familiar with Hood County and Lipin, Texas, I had covered a strange attack couple years back, Christopher Whiteley, and you have the sheriff department saying it was a mountain lion, and then you have the Fish and Game saying no, it was not a wild animal. And there has been no kind of final say on what caused this young man to lose his life. Well, we're going to kind of get an update from a animal control officer or head animal control officer out of that area. So after the interview, though, there will be another video clip. Stay tuned for that to decide whether that one you feel is 100% or Let's get into it. All right, everybody. Tonight I have a subscriber interview, and about a year ago I interviewed this gentleman. Really nice guy. He is from Texas, about an hour west of San Antonio, and I shared his encounter just recently while I was in Rhode Island. He reached back out to me and said, I've got some updates for you. Nick, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, and thanks for reaching out. I guess pretty much you said you had some updates, but for those people who are not familiar with your experience and who you are, do you want to kind of fill in that gap? I'll turn the mic over to you and you can fill in that and then jump onto the updates however you want to do it. The mic is yours, my friend.
All righty. Thank you. Yes. The encounters out here where I live at, in the past, we have around this hill country, we had quite a few encounters out here. One off the highway, one dogman squatted down eating a roadkill deer, and then a month later, same area, one was caught seen running across the highway. And also, I mentioned I have my own business, and I have a couple of customers that mentioned they have some encounters with the dogman, and one person mistakenly he was thinking they were Bigfoot. He had three of them come along his fence property. He owns 25 acres, and he has a deer feeder down the valley where he lives at, and that's where he heard three of them and seen one on the fence line, and he was thinking it was an owl because it's high on the tree, and until it growled to him and it took off, and then he realized it was he didn't know really what it was at first, a creature. Sometimes something he thought he was thinking it was Bigfoot, but of course the way it made sounds, and it didn't sound like a Bigfoot according to his friend. His friend's a Bigfoot researcher.
Okay.
Anyway, and then of course also I had another customer that he special forces, knowing the Fredericksburg and Kerrville area, that he knew there was two of them running around the ranches out there, and of course there's a lot of activity where I live at, and of course I have another customer
with that guy, the guy in the special forces. What did he say? Like, what was going on? Like, how did he?
Well, the way we got into the subject, I never talked to him in person.
Okay.
What it was, I ask questions. I'm not afraid to ask questions, especially out here. I think there were a few, like maybe 5-6 years ago, I heard there was a report in Kerrville.
Okay.
Well, I'm working on the border of Kerrville. Well, I was working on this property. His parents moved in the property. I was laying utilities anyway. The way his wife came out, and I asked her. Well, I asked the parents. Well, the parents are originally from the city and they're retiring on the country. I asked the wife. When I asked the wife, she kind of giggled. But when I asked her, she had her husband on a video chat or video. She's talking on video on the phone. And when I asked her, she asked him, "Hey, have you heard anything?" And he said yes, and that was it. Well, when I was finishing up the job, the parents, the father of the son, told me that his son told him that he's known there's two of them running in Fredericksburg. They have killed. I guess the farmer had sheep, and they have killed some sheep, but they knew there was two of them running around in that area. We're right there by where he lives at.
Okay.
So that's how I wonder if about him personally. Like I only saw him on the phone on the screen. He was out in the field when she was talking to him.
Right.
But and like I said, his wife was making fun, and he was serious. No, there's two of them running around this area. And then of course, I want to bring some updates about that area. I want to bring you some updates of the gentleman that had 3 of them running at his property.
Yeah.
And some other updates. But just to bring everybody up to speed, this is the area I mentioned around this lake where I live at. And of course, I mentioned that the captain of the Division of Game and Wildlife, Hood County, the month prior for that, I forgot the gentleman's name that was killed.
Christopher Whiteley.
Yeah,
yep.
That gentleman. Well, the captain's a good friend of our family. You know what? I don't mind telling you who it is. You don't mind. It was my father-in-law's friend. Okay. And he mentioned that the captain told him, because they're good friends, my father-in-law's retired Marine, they actually caught it on camera while they were patrolling, investigating, and hearing that there'd been sightings of this Dogman running around, and they caught it on video on a river, Brazil River, at night. And a month later, after that incident, they caught it on video. Well, the incident of that young man get killed. So I hope I'm bringing up to date. Bringing that's what I spoke about last time, what happened. And then, of course, I have a little update of that too also. Okay. I don't know, that hope that brings people up to speed on the first interview I had with you. And I can always, I'll go ahead and bring you some updates now if you want. Yeah. Go ahead. Okay. All right. The first update, I want to say the oldest to now. The first one, I did talk to my father-in-law, and he confirmed also that the game warden saw it also. But he said, but he's not really a good friend of the game warden, but since they're associated with the Division of Wildlife, but the game warden said that when he saw it, he was terrified. He got scared when he actually saw it.
And this is the creature that was spotted in Hood County, Lipin, Texas area.
Right. Okay. Correct. Okay. And I don't know. I didn't ask a specific the time span when the captain, when they caught it on video, and then the time span. I don't know how was the time between those two visuals, but the game warden actually saw. He said he actually saw it. It scared him. He said. Okay. Okay. And then the other update. Did your father-in-law's friend? I mean, or you're talking to him, or is this through your father-in-law? No, yeah, through my father-in-law. Okay. Yes.
Did he give your father-in-law like a description of what it looked like, or just was very brief about it?
Just brief, but my father-in-law, like I mentioned, my father-in-law, he's Alabama Kachana, but he grew up knowing these things in Alabama, and of course they call it Larugaroo. He knows it by that name. Okay. So he knows what they look like, you know. But you said it was, canine wolf, like a werewolf. You know, that's how they describe it, you know. Right. But they didn't get no detail because he knows. I know about him, so he didn't really broke down telling me by detail in the description because I already know what they look like. He knows what they look like because his grandmother, the native, was teaching him not to go out in the woods at night because these things are out there.
Right. Yeah. So. No, I just meant what the description of the one that, you know, if it was a large, you know, what they saw.
What size? Yeah. You know, that's funny. I never asked how tall it was or anything.
And like, how did they get the video? Like, what's the video from? Was it in the car? Or what was it?
No. Well, like the first interview, what happened was they got reports. People were reporting they're seeing something out there. Okay. You know, wolf-like creature, bipedal. They were getting reports out there. And, well, of course, you and I know that usually the government entities, especially the Division of Wildlife, there's protocols. They know these things exist. They say, they ain't gonna say much about it, but I know they know these things exist. So what they did, they took out a boat on the river because they were seeing this thing spotted in that area around the river. And so what they did, they took a boat at night, had cameras around the boat and spotlights. And instead of running a regular gasoline motor, they ran a trolling motor real quiet in the water. So they trolling in the water real quiet, and they heard something on the bank. Well, when they heard something, and what they did, they turned on the spotlight while the cameras were running all the time. They were running, recording.
Okay.
And when they turned on the spotlights, they caught it on camera. So they caught it on camera, and that's what and like I said, it was a coincidence. Well, it was a shame what happened, and what they knew was out there. But I guess they're just investigating because there were sightings. So I'm thinking they're just investigating until that incident happened. They killed the gentleman in Hood County.
Yeah.
And so from that point on, I haven't heard anything. If they eliminated it or they hunted it down, I don't know. I don't know anything after that. Most likely, I got a feeling they did. Hunted it down. But that's the update on that. Just a game warden also seen it, and it scared them.
Okay.
And then from there, the other update, that gentleman that had the property across his parents that I was doing work for, and I did an estimate, and that's how we got in the conversation that 2:30 in the morning, I took this dog out in the backyard to use the restroom, and he heard something going on, like three different heard three things running around and making sounds. But at 2:30 in the morning, like I say, he has a friend that I never asked him where his friend lived or what was his name, but his friend is a Bigfoot researcher, and he called him up at 2:30 in the morning because they kind of he was thinking of the way they were moving and making sounds. He was thinking they were Bigfoot, and so he called his friend. He tapped once, he didn't answer, so he called back. And the second time, when he called back the second time, he got a hold of him. And during that moment, when he got his friend on the phone, I guess he was dialing and trying to get a hold of him. When he started talking, that Dogman came along on his fence line. Well, the way his fence has, he has his fence, his yards of maybe, let's say 20 or 30 yards. Let's say 20 yards out, and then there's a fence, and it drops down to a ravine to the valley while they were pushing the deer down the valley to ambush them. But when he got his friend on the phone, the next he looked, he saw amber eye shine on the tree, but next to the tree. And his first thought was an owl.
Right.
Right, and of course the eyes were too spread or too far apart. And when he told his friend to listen, well, when he said his friend listen, that thing growled at him, and all of a sudden it took off. So that next morning, he measured, and I think he was measuring around between 8 or 9 feet tall. What he measured where the eyes were. Okay, that's the first incident that he told me about. The guy asked him, and he goes, I asked him, have you heard it? Because I know what was going on. Those two that ran on the highway, and then my theory is they're running east to west along that valley. Well, that's the other side of the lake where I live at. That's where he lives, the other side, along that valley. So, I think a month after I spoke to him about that, I went back, I finished the job. His parents sold the house. I was dropping off some special order shutters. So I just dropped them off because let the new homeowners install them. Well, while I was there, while the parents and management, the movers were there, they were packing. He runs across. He saw my truck out there. He actually came across. He came across just to come and tell me. Said that they came back to his property. They came back. I said, "Wow!" They said, "Yeah, they're running around my property down there, and they came back." They said, "You hear them making the same noise and everything." But he didn't mention they came up to him to his fence line, but he did hear him running around in the same area where the deer feeder's at. That's update on that. He actually, he came over all excited to tell me that.
Yeah.
I said, really, really, really? Of course, I was in a hurry, I had to go. But he mentioned that. Now, this recent update, I didn't put two and two together because, like I said, I take care of my dad, and my mind's, I kind of slowed the business down, and I take care of my dad. Well, there's incidents been happening, and to me, well, you know how the law enforcement has mentioned a couple of other incidents that you mentioned on your podcast. They dismiss it. Well, this person got killed, or they're drug addicts, That's the way they dismiss the victim. That's really sad, but they dismiss the victim the way they got killed.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
they do that a lot.
Yeah. And I live in a small community. It's not a big community. It's a small community. Right here where I live by the lake. And I think in town is like maybe 2,200 people population in town, right? And but boom, another person disappears. And then another person disappears. Now, and people are now getting really worried. Whoa, what's going on? And we're in a small.
So there's 3 people that disappeared at this point.
Huh? What was that?
3 people disappeared at this point?
No, it's more. 5.
5. Okay. Wow.
5 people, but they found 2, and this is really strange. I didn't put nothing because I hear it in the community.
Yeah.
I hear it. Well, they found one girl. She was up on the tree, and I don't know because I listened, but you kind of just in converse, just people talking at the restaurant. Well, they found her in the tree. And what's really weird, I don't know if she was tied up or she was on the tree. That's the thing. I don't know. That's the point. But she was on the tree. Okay, they found her on the tree. And then the way they found her, she had deep puncture wounds on the back of her neck and shoulders. Okay? And it was really strange, of course. Now, because now more people are missing. And you know what they dismiss it? This is really, okay, either they think people are stupid. I know the parent, the mother, the daughter, well, she's a grown woman, but the mother and daughter is pursuing more investigation. But they said, their conclusion said it was suicide. Really? They said it was
puncture
suicide.
Wounds in
the back.
Yeah, that's
right. How in the world did she come on and still be alive and still stabbing herself? Multiple.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
Yeah. I think they do that. Like I think they do things like that and post it just to see if anyone's going to catch on to it. And then when no one says anything, out in the community, I think then it's just like, okay, we pulled the fast one on them. Let's not share it again. It's just, I think they do that just to have an easier time the next time a person disappears or dies mysteriously.
Right. Well, and I understand, small places like this in the hill country, there's going to be drugs. You're going to hear stories about meth. Well, I think there's a lot of places like that, but they dismiss these victims. They're part of that environment, Yeah. And there was another one. It's all around this area, the same area with all these sightings been encounters that people encountered at the Dogman. It's all in this area. There was another girl who was found in the ditch. Yeah, she was found in the ditch. No, you know what? It was in a ravine. It wasn't a ditch. It was like a ravine in the woods. That's right. It was in a ravine in the woods. They found her and then marked it off. She died. Uh, Natural causes or something, but they never got detail of that. They never said anything detailed. And like I said now, and I'm thinking, well, that's kind of strange. Well, you start thinking the mentality or what they're trying to feed you. You're thinking, well, maybe they were involved with stuff. But the one that threw me off, that committed suicide, that's a red flag. But I was thinking, well, maybe because I noticed that there have been a couple of people walking in the middle of the night. I mean, out here in this wooded area and in the dark. I mean, coming home and I hit them with a headlight, and I'm shocked these people are walking out of the middle of nowhere. But anyway, so I'm thinking, well, I'm trying to think of, well, these are the victims that I've been seeing walking around. You don't see them around anymore. I don't know, and then in another one, a gentleman disappeared, and they have not found him. And then 2 more other people have disappeared. I don't know, they're male or female, but I know they said it was 5 people. They found 2, 3 they have not found 3 of them. So, okay. And then on the 21st, because now people are really getting concerned what's going on out here. Now you see in the community, people are talking, hey, what's going on here and all that. Well, real late at night, a gentleman mentioned that flew over town, and I guess he knows this helicopter. He said it was a Bell helicopter, all black. No signal, no identification on it, nothing. Flew over his building and landed at a abandoned or vacant old racing track, where they had horse races here in town, and landed there. And from that point, people were asking, well, what's going on? Anything? And of course, they're just, this is a government helicopter. And then one said, well, maybe they're bringing the FBI to see what's going on, missing people. They're just guessing what it was. But my question, why is this thing coming at late at night in a black helicopter? Now all this is happening in our area. Yeah. That is the update that I'm really concerned what's going on around here in this area.
Yeah, with helicopters flying around, and that is concerning, especially, with the experiences that you've had in the area, knowing what you know. Your father-in-law being friends with the game warden. And it's strange because, like you said, coming in at night under the shroud of darkness, it's strange. It's almost like Virginia, at the beginning of the year, with all those people going missing in Virginia, and then deaths kind of, when they find these people, there's 8 people that disappeared in Virginia. And
yes. You know what? I'm sorry, Jeff, to interrupt you. I almost forgot to add about that. I think it was the girl, though, the other girl. I forgot I mentioned that her arms are almost ripped off, and not ripped them, and then completely off. But the joints were ripped backwards, or her arm was, like you said, they were pulled a certain way, both arms. I forgot to mention, I don't know the one they found on the tree, or they found one on the ravine. One of those girls there, she had trauma on the arm. It was pulled, and that's a point they can't understand either.
Yeah.
How they caused that.
Yeah. That resembles the case in Cott County, Tennessee, with the other, that woman and the man, Tony Aarons, Amber Miller, and their arms and legs were torn. One arm was torn right off of Amber Miller, and then the other was, pretty bad. Yeah, there's a lot of weird, very strange stuff that they keep quiet, and I think they'd be better off to share this information with us.
Right.
But I think they're worried about, the more I've thought about it, I think they worry about how people would react too. Of course that you got people, it's because of tourism, it's because of this, that's why they don't share it. Well, there was in Bladenboro, South Carolina, when the Beast of Bladenboro was found, there was at least 150 hunters that came into the area. And at that point, they were scared because you've got a bunch of kind of vigilantes looking for something, and innocent people could get hurt at the time. More people would get hurt. And I think that's why they keep a lot of this quiet from us too, is because they've seen how people act, and want to defend themselves or just go and want to hunt one, and not really care about repercussions, So I think that's a big thing why they don't want to share too much with us.
And also, I'm sorry, you know what? While we're talking, things are coming to thought.
Yeah.
And I also noticed too, we only have one in this area, game warden. Well, I noticed now, there's 3 of them out here. And I seen them all one day. I saw them all 3 trucks heading somewhere, but I passed them by. But that's not the norm either, because we only have one in our area, and there was 3 trucks, game wardens. They were heading somewhere, and then, well, now, because like I said, I never start putting things all together, the piecing the puzzle. Or what's going on, the activity here, because you hear it and okay, you hear one here and there, and then I should know them better. I should have paid attention more, but now I'm putting everything together, what's going on, and you're seeing all this activity, and of course the helicopter, the game warden, and so that's telling me something's up.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. I mean, and it's that's kind of funny because, I wonder how many other people like yourself are aware of all of this that's going on,
Well, I know the community is really upset. People are disappearing or being abducted, or whatever you want to call it. Like I said, there's 3 of them they have not found. And of course, they posted the pictures. I know it was a gentleman, and I know for sure I've seen the gentleman, but I don't know the other 2. I don't know if they're male or female, but like I said, they wrote off the 2 females, it's drug related, or they're people that do drugs. It's really sad that their victims, whatever, were they involved, was their past. I think one of you was involved, and that was her past, but they still stamped her that she's a drug addict.
Yeah, it's easy to do that, It's they think that the public is just gonna, it's just another addict, who cares, But it's what's the you said the community is kind of upset. What's the kind of word around town? Like, are people, making any kind of, like, are they being
well, people, I know people saying that
I mean, because obviously people aren't going to be like, yeah, it's this 8-foot walking dog. Is there people saying, like making kind of, well, it's an abduction UFO, or what's the talk around, like in a diner or something? You know what I mean? Like,
right. But you know what, people, I'm the only one maybe talk about it, like on my table. Nobody really talks. They keep it. I don't know. They don't. They're gonna mention something that out there in the community. Unless among friends, they might.
Right.
But I did one time. It was a while back. matter of fact, I think before I even did the interview with you, I did at the restaurant, and he kind of looked at me funny when I asked him, "Hey, what's going on around here?" Because of the lady that saw the Dogman eating that roadkill, and of course her friend a month later saw the same man running across. Hey, what's going on with this cryptid? This people are seeing around here. And he looked at me weird, you know.
Right.
You know, you could tell he knows, you know, but, you know, try to play it off. And I said, well, this wolf-like creature they call Dogman.
Okay.
And he said, and then he goes, what? And then he goes, well, you know, and then he stopped, and then he left. So, well, he just left. He got his food and left. You know, he ordered stuff to go. Right. And that was it. But I did ask him. I confronted him. But like I said, they know something's going on.
Yeah, it's
but like I wish I can get close to one of these. I'm beginning to get close, talk to this marshal, and about I don't know if they will open up, because they got to know too that the community there's two marshals in our town too also.
Okay. Yeah,
but
you and I had talked a little bit prior to this. You had said something your dad had brought up, you know, in the 60s and 70s.
Right,
seeing some
right.
Weird stuff
yeah, because it's just yes. Since I got into it and investigating, of course, especially now what's going on. Well, my dad, he's 81 years old. He lives with me. He finally opened up, and they mentioned that they seen things back in the late 50s and the 60s. Okay, and then he said he ran into a big wolf, and in his mind, he thought it was a timber wolf.
Okay.
Well, this is in Texas. This is South Texas, so
yeah.
I don't know the history of there any timber wolves out here in South Texas.
Yeah,
but also my grandfather, he lived in Cotulla, Texas. That's really south. He mentioned, told my dad about these big wolves running around. But they never mentioned it was bipedal or anything, but they mentioned these wolves were huge, you know, running around. Well, my dad's really interested in it because, as a matter of fact, Jeff, he mentioned that yesterday.
Really?
That about the timber wolf. He said he was like within 10 feet away. And of course, he was looking at it face to face, and he told me he had big eyes, yellow eyes. As a matter of fact, that's the first thing you mentioned about the eyes. You know, out of the blue, my dad, because I listen to your show when I'm driving, and he likes to listen to it too. You know, we're driving, and I had to pause your show because he wanted to mention that to me. But yeah, he's mentioned it that here was a big one, and in his mind, he thought it was a timber wolf.
Right. Yeah,
you know,
I don't, you know, like we had said, I don't think I might be wrong, but I don't think there were timber wolves in that area of Texas. I think, you know, some red wolves, maybe some Mexican, you know, wolves, I forget but they're not that big, you know. It's
right.
You're not looking at something that's more than 100 pounds, if that. You know, so
right.
that's a strange set of events even back then. So it's been going on for a while in that area.
Right, and like I said, I mentioned earlier, I ain't gonna mention his name. There's a guy I'm communicating with, and he lives in Austin. And you and I, on our first interview, we mentioned about Highway 281, north to south. I mean. There's a lot of incidents going on, and in 281 it goes all the way to Hood County. Along that corridor 281, there's a lot of people have reported it, and this gentleman confirmed that there's a lot of encounters along 281.
Yeah.
La Paz, Texas, west of Killeen, Camper, Texas, Marble Fall. All that's along 281. So, they're not, like I said, you know, you hear different states are talking about it, you know, Kentucky and then different places, Hot Point or Mississippi, but nobody really, I don't see really people really talking about much about Texas, but there's a lot of things going on here.
Yeah, there's definitely, I think the reason why is because more people are quieter about things, you know. It's Texas, they want to keep it to themselves, and you know, that way they're, you know, it's kind of like that macho thing, you know, let's not talk about it. If we talk about it, then it's real, or you know,
right.
We can handle it, you know, and there's a lot that goes on in Texas. I mean, it's one of the biggest states of the union, minus Alaska, and you know, there's numerous UFO, Dogman, Bigfoot. You know, I've heard of a bipedal, large kind of cat-like creature, which I don't know. I think maybe misidentified for like what I call the werewolf with the, you know, human-like legs, no tail,
right,
and short snout. But Texas is a hot spot for the paranormal, and you know, I don't know why, but maybe it's just because it's so big. And you know, my friend James Dark Waters talks about how, and we had said this when we were talking earlier, how, and you had brought it up, you know, that you think they move around at this point in the year. And you know, James Dark Waters talks about how they migrate, and maybe a lot of people see these things when they're during migrating season, when they're going south or whatever. You know, I've heard Dogman and Bigfoot rounding up deer and herding them to go south with them, so they have a food source,
right,
through Oklahoma, Texas, that area, you know. It's very strange.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier too when we were talking, is that, I mean, every year we had tons of deer. Don't get me wrong, we still have deer, but you don't see as much.
Right.
You know, you try to think, well, you trying to say, well, it's the drought, but there's still a lot of water resources here, and of course a lot of vegetation, but our population has been depleted.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking is these things running around, and like you and I were talking earlier, and it's like, I mean, I've been here, living here almost 10 years in this house, and my sister mentioned it once. She heard howling one time. She was up in the middle of the night, because in my shop I have another refrigerator, and she keeps her soda water in there, and she got up in the middle of the night and she heard howling. And I said, you really did? She'd have woke me up. But when you and I were talking, just want to go earlier, there was howling, and dogs were going crazy, and then all of a sudden the dogs got quiet.
Yeah.
And then the area that one witness I mentioned in my area that saw it, and because he lives about maybe 200 yards away from me, the one he said came out in the middle of the night, saw one standing behind his tree.
Yeah.
So he ran inside to grab his gun and a camera. Well, when he did that, he saw it take off running. And I have a branch of the lake that comes right in front of my shop. Well, it's dry now. The lake has gone down. And it was down then that Dogman ran across along that lake bed. It's not that big. It was like just a small, narrow branch, maybe 40 foot wide. And it ran across that way. Well, just now, within like 4 minutes ago, dogs were going crazy down that area just now.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden there's silence. Right now they just went silent. That's a coincidence that you and I are talking.
Yeah.
Never heard, all these years never heard howling. And that when you and I were talking earlier of the first time, right now, dogs were going crazy down south, right where the guy lives in that area, down the road from me.
Yeah, that
Now
was strange.
all of a sudden, the dog just stops all at once.
Yeah, that was strange. Yeah, when you had stopped. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they kind of fade out, but no, they just quit.
Yep.
So
Well, I appreciate you keeping in touch, and if you do end up making any contact or headway with that guy, the marshal there that you said you were gonna, and if you hear anything, even if you don't want to have your name associated with it, just send me some info, and I'll share it. But I really appreciate the updates, what's going on in the Hood County region and San Antonio region, because there is a lot going on, and like you said, you've been there for 10 years, you've never heard howling. Your sister has heard it once, then you hear it tonight. Maybe it is migrating season, so
right. And I'm gonna go down that area and just to see if I catch anything in the middle of the night. Of course, I ain't gonna be dumb and get out of the vehicle, but see if I catch anything running across what they seen it.
right.
So, but no, I appreciate you, Jeff, and then giving me the opportunity to give you this update. Hope it was plenty of information, but now the community is really concerned. These people are missing, and especially they dismissed that one girl that was suicide with puncture wounds. They didn't see what kind of puncture wounds they were in the back of her neck and shoulders.
Yep.
That's what's really weird, and now things are beginning to make sense. Now things are some activity with the government or enforcement and all that's is real active here right now.
Yeah. Well, do me a favor. Don't hang up, because I'd like to talk to you for a minute before we let each other go. But once again, thank you for coming on, and I appreciate it. And keep me in the loop, my friend.
Will do.
All right. Have a good night.
You too now. Thank you.
So, Nick is a really nice guy. I know that he gets nervous when I interviewed him last time, but he's got some really interesting information. And like he said, he is not afraid to just ask somebody, hey, have you seen anything like this? And I find that very cool. And, you don't find a person too often that really doesn't care. I mean, he's doing a job, and he'll be like, hey, have you seen a 7-foot walking dog? Because I have. And if you have, share it with me. I'd love to hear what his dad has to say about back in the day, though. That would be really cool to hear. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. And this is going to be tonight's last video clip. A person is in the woods, and they're kind of panning around, and they see this kind of large, hairy-like creature. This video comes to us from the state of Washington, I believe. Let's get into it. And that was tonight's final video clip. I'm really not sure what to think of it. You can obviously see there is a large furry creature there. When I first saw it, I thought we were kind of, when he was panning around, I thought he had caught the face of it. But that may have just been, a pareidolia. Not saying this video is pareidolia. I'm saying that there is something there, and it definitely is furry and large. But when he pans, you can kind of see a face, but it may not be. Not really sure what to think of this video. But once again, that's not up to me. That's up to you guys. And with that, my friends, I want to thank you all for all your support. May the Great Spirit watch over all of us, and may He guide us down that path that, we call life.